Okay, so today we're going to be looking at section 9.5, the second day, which is still completing the square. And what we're going to be looking at doing is finding the vertex. So hopefully I can say at the end of this that I can find the vertex, I should say I can find the vertex of a quadratic by completing the square. Okay, so very similar to what we were doing yesterday, just a little bit of a tweak on it. So I got y equals an x squared plus a 10x plus 7. So we're going to do the same sort of process. We're going to subtract off a 7. So now I got a y minus a 7 equals an x squared plus 10x. So now at this step, we're still going to complete that square. So half of the 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So I'd add on the 25 to both sides. And now what I'd have is y equals an x squared, no, sorry, I do not have y equals yet. I've got a y plus a 18 equals x squared plus 10x plus 25, which is the same thing as x plus 5 squared. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract off the 18 to get the equation that says y equals. So I'd have y equals an x plus a 5 squared minus 18. So now what I want us to do, I want us to take a look at this on Desmos. So if I went to Desmos over here and I looked at this equation, this first equation is x squared plus 10x plus 7. So that would be this one right here. And if I were to look at the vertex of this parabola, we can see that that vertex, excuse me here, the vertex is a negative 5, negative 18. So if I just come back to this now, this vertex, the vertex is a negative 5, negative 18. Well, how is that related to this form? Well, it's the opposite of what's in the parentheses, and then it's the negative 18 is your y. Okay, so with that in mind, let's try and do another one here. So if I complete the square on this one, again, that process, I would have started out by minusing the 12. So we minus the 12 off, and I've got a y minus 12 now is equal to x squared minus 4x. If I take half of the negative 4 and square it, I'd get a positive 4, so I'd add 4 to both sides. So now I got a y minus 8 equals an x minus 2 squared. So now my last step, I'd add the 8 to both sides, and you have this, x minus 2 squared plus 8. So if we look back to this other one and how it came out here, the one in the parentheses came out opposite, and that's our x, and the one by itself is the y. So the one inside the parentheses comes out opposite, and that's our x, so it'd be a positive 2, and the y is just an 8. Now if we went to Desmos, and we graph that one, and I do have that one graphed, and that's this second graph up top here, the yellow one. And if I were to click on that vertex, we can see that we do get a 2, 8. Okay, so this completing the square becomes very important when we're graphing as well. So now, if I asked you to just find the vertex here, the process that we do is exactly what we have been doing. So I'd subtract an 8 from both sides. So now I got a y minus 8 equals x squared plus 6x. And then to complete the square, half of the 6 is 3, squared is 9. So I'd add on the 9, and I'd get a y plus a 1 equals x plus 3 squared now. And my last step, I simply subtract off the 1, and I'd have y equals x plus 3 squared minus 1. And if we think back to how it comes out, our vertex would be a negative 3, negative 1. And if you want to test that on Desmos, that would be great. Okay, and then why don't you try this one on your own, pause the video, and see if you can get the right answer, and then we'll come back and we'll talk. Okay, so you should have added 35 to both sides, and you'd get y plus 35 equals x squared minus 2x. Okay, then we take half of a negative 1, or excuse me, half of a negative 2 is a negative 1, squared is a 1. So I'd add a 1 to both sides. So I'd have a y plus 36 equals an x minus 1 squared, 36. And then if you minus 36 off, you'd be left with y equals x minus 1 squared minus 36. So our vertex should be at a 1, negative 36. Okay, so big idea here. Big idea when we're completing the square. Vertex form, we say is this. Y equals, this is vertex form. For a quadratic is this. An x minus an h squared plus k. And your vertex comes out to be h k. So hopefully that makes sense to us. And if not, we can come back and we can ask some questions tomorrow. But that is a wrap.